What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you doing today? My name is there no one else? I bring you a video today, another build video for this time for the Stamina Nightblade. I came out with a couple of Stamina Nightblade builds for no CP for Battlegrounds because I wanted to get those out right away. This is the build that I will be rolling with at least until the next patch, so probably for the next 2 months. It's a CP build. This will not work the way it currently is in Battlegrounds due to procs being better and all of that, and the fact that you can't run CP. So we'll look at the character sheet here. 2500 stamina recovery, 37k stamina, 2500 weapon damage buffed, 32% crit, 2910 critical resistance, and then spell resistance and physical resistance around 20,000 fully buffed. We're running the Serpent Mundus, Dubious Cameron Throne. Yeah, and these are our stats outside of CP, or outside of PvP. We'll be around 24,000 health when we're in PvP. As far as gear goes, we are wearing the Master's Bow on the back bar, powered. It's very possible that this is going to be the best in slot weapon next patch. Currently it's defending, but they're buffing powered and they're debuffing, or they're nerfing defending by quite a bit. So it's possible that powered was already decent for a back bar one. I do not have defending, so I'll probably just be rolling with this next patch as well. But Master's Bow is the best for this, for the one piece. We're running a Maelstrom's Ball on the front bar. Any sort of two-handed, Master's Greatsword, Master's Sword, Master's Battle Axe. I think the two best ones are either the sword or the maul. And I did some testing, and against my practice dummy with 18,000 resistances, I was hitting harder with the maul compared to the sword. The sword you're going to hit harder against. You're going to hit harder against shields, but I think against the maul, against most people you're going to run across, the maul will be better. 18k resistance isn't super high, and I'm guessing this should hit harder against people with even more resistances than that. So just about everybody in medium's running around with like 15k. I mean, hell, even some light armor builds fully buffed up are running 18, 20,000 resistances. So yeah, as far as gear goes, we're running 5 impregnable on the body, all stamina enchants. Now this set is really cool, and it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really good next patch as well, because they're buffing crit. The amount of crit you can get, they're buffing Mundus Stone. They're nerfing the Thief Mundus, but they're buffing the crit values you get from sets. So you'll get more crit. Having more crit resist is probably better this patch in general, or next patch in general. But what this set does, it gives you one of each, health, stamina, and magicka. Health comes in handy because we're a wood elf. Stamina's always nice, and magicka's nice. Now, if you watched my build video from last patch, I was wearing Hundings Rage, and I had to wear a bunch of Hekajos. I don't have to do that this patch because I get that health bonus. So I get a decent health bonus, so that means I can stack more into stamina. I'm running 1 Hekajo, and that puts me at 24k health. And so then I get more stamina, which helps make up for the lack of damage that this set provides. But what this set does, and I'll explain it when I get to it, but it gives you so much crit, and then you can utilize your Mundus Stone to get more value. So I'm running the Serpent Mundus with 5 Divines, and preferably 7 would be better, but 5 is okay. I just don't have Divine Bone Pirates because when I farmed, I was farming for Impen. Yeah, so 5 heavy, 2 medium, and then we're running Bone Pirates. We're running 2 weapon damage enchants, and we're running 1 recovery. And then with this, we're obviously running Dubious Cameron Throne, which gives us our recovery where it's at. Fully buffed, like you saw, it's 25. If we take a tripod, we jump up to 28, 23. And you can run 3 recovery enchants, or 3 weapon damage enchants. That'll give you pretty good damage, especially with the amount of stamina you have. However, I like to have a little bit more recovery when I'm trying to 1vx, so I want to make sure that I don't run out of the reason I die is because I don't run out of resources. So yeah, as far as skills, reverse slice, ambush, rally, mass hysteria, surprise attack, and incapacitating strike. Since we're not Battlegrounds, Ballista is going to make it on our bar. We're just going to run across more people where Ballista comes in handy. This is just an amazing ultimate. It hits really hard. And the best part about it as a Nightblade is you can drop it, and then you switch, you ambush in, and then you can CC. And then they're taking the Ballista, and they're also taking your DPS while you're on them. So it's very, very bursty. Resolving Vigor, Poison Injection. Poison Injection is a must, especially with the Master's Bow. It's an execute at range. This thing is hitting really hard, and it gives us 300 more weapon damage with our bow. Shadowy Disguise is the better morph. Relentless Focus. You can run Siphoning here. Siphoning with 3 weapon damage enchants is good, but the 8% from Minor Berserk is better in from what I've tested than 3 weapon damage. So 2 weapon damage and 1 recovery with Minor Berserk is better than 3 weapon damage and siphoning attacks. So that's why I went this way. And then shuffle. As far as our CP goes, and the main reason I'm posting this video, we're running 48 in a Warlord. We want our break free to be cheap. We're running 19 in a Siphoner. We're going to be doing a lot of light and heavy attacks, and this is going to reduce the amount of recovery the person we're hitting does by 5%. It's very useful to have points in a Siphoner and a Nightblade. Mooncalf, we got 60. We have 27 in Tenacity. Getting points into here is very useful with this setup because, yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of medium attacks. We're going to be doing a lot of heavy attacks. We want to make sure we get a good amount of sustain there. 40 into Tumbling. We're going to be dodge rolling quite a bit. We are very tanky. This is probably the tankiest or best sustained tank set that I've ever run, that or most survivable build that I've run on my Nightblade. Not counting like running Troll King or whatever, but this is really good. The foul is very useful. Increase the effectiveness of your healing reduction abilities by 16%. This goes in line with our in-cap. So, sorry about that. In-cap provides Major Defile. You can see it reduces the effectiveness of healing done now by 35%, 34% because I can't do math. Yeah, this reduces their healing received. Once you get them at low health, this will help tick harder. They'll be forced to backpedal and heal a little bit more or purge it off. 27 in a Blessed. We do not have major mending, so it's nice to have healing done and healing received. So we put points into Blessed. 44 into Master at Arms. Increase your damage done with direct damage attacks by 17%. We have 23 in a Physical Weapon Expert. Like I said, we're going to do light and heavy attacks with our bow and with our two-hander, so we want to have points into there. 9 into Shattering Blows, just because it helps against shields quite a bit. 60 into Mighty, 6 into Piercing. We don't need a lot of piercing in general. We're running a sharpened weapon. If you don't have a sharpened weapon, obviously stack more into here. If you're running precise, then you could take points out. Adjust this how you see fit. But with a maul, I don't need that many points into piercing because I already have ignoring armor. I have sharpened. I have major fracture. I don't really need more physical penetration than what I currently have. 31 into precise strikes. We have guaranteed crits from stealth, so that's the only reason we have it. We are a heavy armor build. We don't crit that much, but when we do crit, we want to make sure we're bumping up that damage a little bit. We have 1 damage over time effect, so I threw 10 into there. Poison Injection is our only dot, but it is a really good dot once they get below 50% health, so Thaumaturge points really help. And now, this is why I really like Impregnable for this setup. 51 in Ironclad. We're running 0 into Resistant. So because of Impregnable, because of how much crit resist we get, we can take our points out of this, which is very valuable for this class. We now have 50 in a Hardy and 50 in Elemental Defender. Really good damage reduction from Stamina and Magicka classes. 22 into Thick Skinned, reducing damage over time effects, and then 37 into Quick Recovery. This is going to increase our healing received. Our healing will be much better. With a powered bow, with all these points into healing received, with all these points into blessed, yeah, we have very, very good heals. This is probably the best. I mean, on my bow bar, this is probably the best resolving vigor ticks that I have ever run with. So it's very useful. As far as potions go, We were running tripots and lingering health pots. We also run detect pots because we're not running mark target, so these detect pots come in handy for other Nightblades that are trying to proc us to death. Lingering health comes in handy when you're fighting severely outnumbered and you have to get in, and tripods are for everything else. Yeah, so I know Hunding's Rage is fine. Obviously, Bone Pirates is just kind of a no-brainer. Bone Pirates is just one of the best sustained sets in the game. If you want to be able to 1vx, if you want to be able to go out and take a bunch of people out, you're only going to have marginally less damage with Bone Pirates compared to like Hulking Draugr, but you're going to have so much more sustain because it gives you 2 stam recovery buffs. So it's just, Bone Pirates is just a great sustain set. So that's why it's on our bar. It's a great damage set. It's the best all-around stam set in the game. And then as far as the other 5-piece goes, I mean, you could run Black Rose. They nerfed the Constitution passive, so it's not as good as it used to be. You do hit a little bit harder than with this, so that's worth considering. But you have to invest points in your CP tree into resistant to get your crit resist, relatively close to where I'm at. So that's why I like this Impregnable set. It allows us to stack more into healing, which really helps for a Nightblade and CP. We have 2,900 crit resist. We are almost at the crit resist cap. We could be if we want to be. 2,900 is more than enough. So we're going to be taking less damage. People are going to be barely critting on us. With the passives the way they are for heavy armor, we're going to have Major Resolve and Major Ward for the entire time we're fighting. So I have 21,000 spell and 21,000 physical. So see how long this lasts. That's just off a surprise attack. Every time, or off of fear. Every time I fear, cloak, or surprise attack for, 9 or 10 seconds now, I get Major Ward, which is, I think it's a Shadow Barrier passive right here. Casting a Shadow ability grants you Major Resolve and Major Ward for 6 seconds, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 5280. This duration is increased by 25% for each piece of heavy armor equipped. So we are actually at 13%, or 14 seconds, I think, for Major Resolve. So when you're in a fight, you are going to be fearing every 14 seconds if you're doing something right. So you're going to have your resistances up really high. You're not going to be crit. You're still hitting hard as a Nightblade. I know a lot of people, the current meta for Nightblades right now is running medium armor, running Selene, and running Viper, and just trying to kill people in 2 seconds. But to be completely honest, although in no CP that's the way to go, and they're obviously adjusting that for good reason, in CP it's not nearly as strong. It still works, but there are a lot of people that can survive, and when somebody does survive your burst combo, what do? You can't heal, you're wearing medium armor, you get melted by somebody that can survive your burst and then dishes it back out, and you're wearing medium and you get melted. So I've had a lot of success against this build, or with this build against the proc builds. A lot of people aren't running as many procs in CP, so having the higher crit resistance does come in handy. And like I said, next patch, I think Impregnable is definitely going to be the way. It's definitely going to be the way that I go. They're boosting the amount of stamina and magicka and health that you get for the 2, 3, and 4 pieces. So we're actually going to have more max stats on this. Our divines are going to buff our recovery. We're going to have more max stats like everybody else, but we're also going to have more recovery that is buffed more by our divine Mundus stones, our divine stones for our Mundus. And then obviously Bone Pirates is good. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the explanation for the build. Very similar to what I always run. I can't get past bow and 2H for Nightblade builds. I don't like running dual wield. I don't like running sword and board. When I'm out in open world PvP, I like the bow. I like the movement speed. Poison injection is just way too good of a dot to pass up. 260% more damage at people below 50% health is great. If you run poisons, drain, stam, and magicka poisons are obviously good. Double drain health poisons are obviously good. You don't need them with this setup. Now, my damage does. Last thing I'm going to say, my damage does look low. I mean, I totally get that. I mean, I'm not going to hit as hard as people in medium armor because we don't have weapon damage passives like medium armor does. But with in cap is just such an amazing skill. It does a shit ton of damage, as you see, 14,000 disease damage, and it increases your damage against the person you hit with in cap by 20% for 6 seconds. Also affects the enemy with major defile, so they can't heal as well. So you hit them really hard, you're really bursty, and you do more damage when they're when you hit it on them every 6 seconds. And basically, I mean, I don't know the exact number for how long I have an in cap, but you know, when you're 1v1ing somebody or when you're fighting people, like you kind of have your in cap on them, you know, every 10 seconds or so, you know, 10, 12 seconds. So there's a big chunk of time where you have 20% more damage. And Nightblades excel at animation canceling. You know, you have major fracture with your surprise attack, so you're going to hit hard. Your surprise attack's already hitting hard. You know, you do your heavy attack in cap, you do your heavy attack surprise attack, whatever. Two-handed passives. Hold on. There's the balanced. Yeah, there you go. Your successful fully charged heavy attacks increase the damage of your next attack by 10% for 7 seconds. So when you try and hit somebody with an in cap, your sustain will be coming from your heavy attacks. You do a heavy attack in cap, heavy attack surprise attack, heavy attack fear in cap, and then now you're, you know, there's a lot of things you can do to buff your damage up to a point to where you don't need to run medium with a stamina Nightblade. This makes up for a lot of your weaknesses. Other classes you definitely have to stack into damage. This class you don't. So that's going to be the end of the video. If you have any questions, please comment in the section below. Thank you. Have a nice day.